What we're seeing is the largest credit bubble in history going pop. And it's going pop in exactly the same way as a lesser credit bubble in 1929 went pop, with combination of that and tariffs. Smoot Hawley Mark II, I'm calling it. I think that rather like in 2000 and late 2008, the initial shock takes out everything, and then people sort of think, hold on a minute, gold is actually where we should be, not in credit, as it were. And I think we're already getting, this is not something else. This time we got central banks doing it. Central banks are buying gold. Why? They're actually selling credit.
Over the past years, countries have increased their holdings as net gold buyers. Since 1999, gold's bull market signifies that the dollar and all fiat currencies have been losing value. Long-term gold forecasts vary widely, with some predicting $10,000 per ounce, gold replacing the dollar alongside Bitcoin, or even a global gold shortage due to rising demand. Precious metal expert Alasdair Macleod warns that today's unfolding credit bubble mirrors past crises but is even more dangerous due to rising tariffs. Macleod predicts a shift from equities to gold, similar to post-2008 trends, while he mentions that central banks are actively buying gold and moving away from fiat and credit. This marks a major sentiment shift that many investors haven't yet realized. Central bank attitudes toward gold started changing following the 1997 Asian financial crisis, and then later the 2007 and 2008 financial crisis. Since 2010, central banks have been net buyers of gold on an annual basis. Looking at the big picture, Macleod emphasizes that gold's downside is limited due to tight physical supply and central bank demand. Meanwhile, commodities have dropped, mainly because central banks don't buy them. Silver and crude oil were down by over 7%. This is the first step to much bigger declines that will materialize once the USD index finally does soar. And just as it seemed impossible for the USD index to rally at its 2008 bottom, while reflecting on trends, Macleod warns the crisis may deepen, triggering falling equities. European equities plunged in their worst session since March 2020 as the global market rout intensified. Safe haven assets gained as investors brace for prolonged volatility amid rising inflation fears and no immediate central bank support. Regarding crypto, Macleod warns that Bitcoin is closely tied to tech stocks and predicts a sharp crash. Now, we present the clips of Alasdair Macleod's insights from his recent interview. Before we continue to discuss this, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates.
I mean, what we saw at the time of the Great Financial Crisis, I think we see again. At the time of the Great Financial Crisis, we saw gold get knocked from about $1,000. It got up to something like 1,050 or something. It got knocked from there down to about 680, and that was more, sort of more spread out than this current episode. But once that was over, gold then went on up to 1,920 in late 2011. Because you had the knock-on effects, if you like, of the Great Financial Crisis. Particularly, you had, if you like, European debt problems and all the rest of it. Various crises in Europe, which sort of rolled and rolled and rolled. And of course, everybody wanted to get out of credit and get into safety, which was really what happened. This time, I think the situation is actually far. What we're seeing is the largest credit bubble in history going pop. And it's going pop in exactly the same way as a lesser credit bubble in 1929 went pop, with combination of that and tariffs. Smoot Hawley Mark II, I'm calling it. I think that rather like in 2000 and late 2008, the initial shock takes out everything, and then people sort of think, hold on a minute, gold is actually where we should be, not in credit, as it were. And I think we're already getting, this is not something else. This time we got central banks doing it. Central banks are buying gold. Why? They're actually selling credit. They're getting out of paper currencies, getting out of fiat currencies. Big message which we've got to hoist on board. That is the difference between 2008 and today. And of course, they don't buy silver, which is why silver goes down. They don't buy copper, which is why copper's going down. And they don't buy oil, which is why oil and energy is sinking. That will turn round because over long periods of time, the purchasing power of gold is very steady when it comes to buying these commodities. So, all this is pretty temporary stuff. I'm not giving a steer in terms of timing. All I will say is that the downside in gold, I think, is extremely limited, simply because central banks are standing there just picking up any loose stock they can possibly pick up. So that's going to keep things tight in gold. We have a real crisis in the markets, and that is going to lead collapsing equity values. And I wouldn't be surprised if this crash continues next week, like big time. That sort of thing begins to affect the banks because the banks have this stuff as collateral, equities as collateral. And not only that, I mentioned the leverage, around about $1 trillion of leverage. It's less than that. But on top of that, you've got the commercial real estate problems and all the rest of it. The other thing, which is something that hasn't happened yet, is the collapse in crypto. That's going to happen. I mean, if you've only got to look at how Bitcoin correlates with NASDAQ. I mean, it's the same, or particularly the Magnificent Seven. It's the same cohort who are long of Bitcoin, who are long of those Magnificent Seven tech stocks. Watch that Bitcoin. I don't make investment recommendations, but I would not be surprised to see that as one of the best shorts at this stage in the market. So we're talking about the enthusiasm, if you like, that you get in the top of a credit bubble. It's that's evaporating. And the consequences on values the whole way across the board can be catastrophic.
Commodity analysts who make long-term forecasts believe that the price of gold will generally keep rising in the next few decades as the demand for the precious metal increases. In his assessment, Alasdair Macleod warns that Trump's tariffs drive the global economy toward a deep recession. He argues foreign investors will flee U.S. assets as markets fall and the dollar weakens, forcing the Fed to raise rates to lure them back. This, he says, deepens the debt trap and risks triggering widespread defaults. According to Macleod, we're only at the beginning of this dangerous cycle. On commodities, Macleod explains the sharp drops in silver stem from leveraged players unwinding positions. Gold has held up better due to central bank buying, acting as a support. The Trump administration's massive reciprocal tariffs will likely last at least until the 2026 midterms, and the secondary and tertiary effects will wreak havoc on silver and other industrial commodities. Still, they will continue to boost gold demand as they stoke inflation and harm risk assets, according to analysts at TD Securities. Let's get back to the interview.
These tariffs, and I mean the market's initial reaction rather confirms this, these tariffs are basically driving the global economy into recession, slump, depression, I don't know what we'll call it. The consequences of that, of course, are that tax revenues will disappoint. Welfare costs will be higher than anticipated. Government finances will take this very, very badly at a time when government finances are actually in a debt trap. So you then have to ask yourself the question, well, how does this affect interest rates? Because everybody's assuming that interest rates will go down. The Fed will lower interest rates because they have to, and they're going to have to rescue the economy, etc. It's the Keynesian playbook, but it's complete rubbish. In fact, the correct way to look at this is the way the foreigner will look at, say, his investment in US equities. They've got something like 14, 15 trillion, depending on valuations, invested in US equities. That is a hell of a lot of investment. Now, they're not going to hang around while a bear market rages and just sort of sit on their position. No, they're going to sell it down. They're going to panic out. They're bound to. And are they going to go and buy US treasuries and corporate debt? The risk-free alternative? No, as far as they're concerned, that's not the risk-free alternative. The risk-free alternative is to get into cash in their own currency because they're running balance sheets in their own currency. If they're going to see no risk at all or minimal risk, it's got to be back into their own currency. It doesn't matter how bad the currency is. That is where the buying is going to go. And we've seen this reflected already in the dollars trade weighted, which, I mean, you look at the chart of that. It fell 2% yesterday. It's like more than 2%. I mean, it's steadier today. But, there's no doubt, looking at the chart, that's going to go below 100. It's currently 102. Going to go below 100, and it's going to be on its way to 90. And we see what happens then. I mean, allegedly, Trump wants to see the dollar lower. He's going to get his wish. But this is very, very bad news, because how does the foreigner then get enticed back into the dollar? I mean, the answer is you've got to offer him an interest rate to entice him back into the dollar. You cannot reduce the amount of credit outstanding without banks or businesses going bust. That is the way outstanding credit gets reduced. If it's not going to get reduced that way, then it gets reduced in its value. So what will happen is that the Fed will be pushed into interest rate policies which basically destroy the dollar. And we're just in the early stages of this. And as for the commodities, this reaction actually is completely wrong. But it's understandable, being the first, if you like, the initial shock. And bear in mind also that there's still quite a bit of leverage in the US equities. I mean, if you look at the FINRA numbers, I think in February it was a short $1 trillion of debt, leverage in the market. That's getting caned, absolutely caned. So you can see that this is not good. It really is not. And first reaction to hit everything, including commodities. I think that the swaps, if you like, in gold and silver and in other commodities, the other futures commodities, are understandably trying to close down their positions. So they bash these prices, they bash them down. And of course, nobody wants to challenge. They will manage to close some of their positions at a lower price. I don't think they will in gold. There might be some, but I mean, gold is interesting because on COMEX, there's less than 500,000 contracts outstanding, which is not an overbought situation, if you like. You don't have all these hedge funds long of gold, short of dollar. No, they're not at all. So the amount of stuff that's going to get shaken out on the bull tack, I think, is going to be disappointing as far as the swaps are concerned.
While the dollar index may not plunge, gold's ascent tells us that all fiat currencies have suffered significant devaluation that continues in 2025. Several macroeconomic factors drive gold's upward trend. The persistent devaluation of fiat currencies, as indicated in the US dollar versus gold chart, further strengthens gold's long-term bullish case. As we witness these mounting risks and changing investment behaviors, are you prepared for what happens when confidence in fiat and risk assets truly breaks down? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to support our channel and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos. See you in the following video.